And I need to ask you, because we got sidetracked there. Lastly, is the gubernatorial race to replace you, your successor I was referring to. New guy, James Fishback. What do you make of him? And what do you make of his comments where he referred to Representative Byron Donalds as a slave? Was that innuendo? Was he monkeying around? It's like, what do you make of that?
I mean, I don't know him, and I haven't really followed it. I mean, I've heard some chatter, but that's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah. And then lastly, are you going to get involved in that race? I know Lieutenant Governor Jay Collins is thinking about getting in. Rep Byron Donalds is in.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think at the end of the day, the criteria I laid out, I think, are important.
Yeah.
I'm only going to support. I don't get involved in a lot of primaries. When I do, it's got to line up. I have some people that are, very good supporters of mine, friends who've wanted to run for things and have asked me, would you endorse? And then I look at the record and I say, I can't in the primary. If you get to the general, I'll support you, because I think like our voters, they expect me to stand for what I've stood for. And I've been very diligent about kind of sticking with that. So, are you able to demonstrate those two criteria? And then what's your overall message about, the direction that you want to take the state of Florida? So we'll see how it works out.
So you probably won't get involved in the race between if Jay gets in or Byron Donalds
Well, I think, so Byron is, he's just far apart from me on policy. So like that first bucket, I don't even have to get to the second bucket, because the first bucket, we're just far apart. I mean, his big initiative when he was here was to basically eliminate our truth in sentencing laws. And so you have to serve 85% of your sentence. This would have taken it closer to 60 and would have been 80, I think it would have been 8 or 9,000 felons would have been authorized for early release. I think that would cause the crime rate to spike. I killed that as governor. It didn't even make it to my desk. And I've had to veto a lot of weak on crime bills that kind of just get through here, and I do it. And so I think we're far apart on that. And I think we're far apart on, we've done the anti-woke history here in Florida. And I got demagogued by Kamala Harris. She was saying it was racist. And, Byron sided with Kamala on that. And I was like, that's really cheap to side with her over the state of Florida that's fighting woke, that's fighting all that stuff. So that was that. And I think there's other differences that we have in terms of the policy. And so the question is, if somebody else, if it's Jay Collins or someone, if they're aligned with me on policy and are aligned with me on kind of the overall, I'm going to be a fighter, I'm going to do that, then that would be something that would get me involved. So we'll see what happens.